I'll admit. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. It's 1 minute past 3 o'clock in Rome, so I will start while people are still joining. My name is Renata Mirula. I'm the facilitator of the Eval Forward Community of Practice, who's organizing this webinar today, and I'm particularly happy to welcome you to Evaluation and Transformational Change, Driving Sustainable Change in Agriculture. This is a session that was made with contributions from members of the Eval Forward community. In fact, it was a call for members who wanted to come forward and present around evaluation for transformational change, which is the main topic of this year GLocal. And we put together a session, which I think is very interesting, with some experts and researchers that will present their experience and expertise around several aspects of pushing good innovation in agriculture. So I want to just say to invite you to use the chat for your questions or comments around the presentations. And also for those who are not familiar with Eval Forward, since this is a GLocal event and there are many people joining from other organizations, I also invite you to visit Eval Forward and to join the community if you are interested in evaluation and M&E in agriculture and rural development. This webinar is also recorded, and we will share the recording and the presentations of all three speakers with all registered participants. So both you who are attending the session today, and also participants who could not make it but registered to this session. Okay, I think that's all from my side for opening this session. We have a facilitator who was involved in another GLocal session at the same time. As you know, the GLocal week is a very busy one. We have 370 events going on at the same time. So Federica will probably join us in a few minutes. And I would like then to start with the first presenter, Genoveffa Blundocanto. Sorry, Genoveffa, for the misspelling. So she is a senior researcher at CIRAD France, but she's based in Colombia at CIET in Cali. She's part of the IMPRESS team of CIRAD, a unit dedicated to evaluation of agricultural research interventions, which uses a multi-dimensional approach to evaluation and applies mixed methods and participatory approaches, depending on the evaluation questions and the overall objective. I'll give the floor to Genoveffa to introduce us to her topic, which is around impact weaving. And also, I see Federica has joined us, but I'll give the floor to you, Genoveffa, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much. So I'm just waiting for the presentation to go up. Thank you so much. So the idea is that I present impact weaving, which is a method that we have developed with CIRAD, which is the French Agricultural Research Institute, and AgroSavia, which is the National Colombian Agricultural Research Institute. Just Renata, we don't see the full screen, I think. Not yet.
Do you see it now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
it's
great.
Yes, so it's impact weaving. It's an approach to strengthening the plausibility of anticipated agricultural research for development impact pathways. Next, please. Thank you. So the idea with impact weaving is that we really design research intervention with stakeholders within their context of action. If we are at the level of ex-ante evaluation, so we are at the design and planning stage of an intervention. The idea is that we develop impact pathways that are grounded in the specific context of action of the stakeholders, taking into account their needs, their expectation, and their future vision. We use system thinking approaches to make explicit the role of the different actors, the emergence of new actors, institutions, their different perspectives and dynamics that might emerge with potential virtues of vicious cycles in the future. And the idea is that it combines past, present, and future knowledge by using participatory foresight tools. Next, please. So the tools, there are three main tools. There are two applications of impact weaving. One is for a specific technology that we want to scale or that we want to test within a context. And another approach is another option is to work on exploratory cases where there is not a specific technology. But in this case, I'm focusing more on the one focused on the technology. And we use free tools. We use participatory foresight tools, the futures triangle, which is used to build the scenario elements, the elements that make up a certain future. And the three horizons, which is a backcasting approach, meaning we develop, let's say, a transition pathway, but going backwards from the future to the present. We use a simple participatory quantitative adoption modeling where we validate adoption potential of a technology with the stakeholders. And we develop, in the end, the last tool is the impact pathway or theory of change and the basis for an action plan. Next, please. So the process for the technology case is carried out like we see in the picture. So we have three steps: a first step and the final step that is, let's say, carried out by the research team, and then the big part, let's say, of the method is focused on a participatory workshop, usually of 2 days. It can be longer if the stakeholders wish so, but we find that 2 days it's let's say the minimum that we need for developing. I think you went backwards. Sorry. Okay. For developing a useful, let's say, impact pathway. So next, please. We start with the research team by analyzing the context. So we look at multiple aspects of context, so social, technical, environmental, economic, political, and values related elements. Then we, within the participatory workshop, we develop a discussion around this context that was analyzed by the researchers with the stakeholders in order to refine the context in which the technology will be developed. And we put a specific highlight on the actors and their own perspectives and values towards the technology and what it implies. Then we have this simple adoption modeling, let's say, with the stakeholders, where we define what is the adoption potential of this technology. And then we go to the real foresight tool, which is a future triangle, where we analyze the pushes of the present. So let's say what can push us towards using the technology or towards other direction, the weights, what hinders, for instance, the use of the technology, and the pulls of the future, meaning the long-term dynamics that seem, or the dynamics that seem to appear on the horizon and might influence the future pathway. So to develop a future vision, we can develop multiple scenarios by combining the pulls, pushes, and weights, taking them to their future state. So we can identify what will be the future state of, for instance, the organization of research activities or of a specific association or the policy and so on. And we take these future states, we put them together to develop a future scenario, which will be our future vision, which will go into the free horizon that will allow us to develop this transition pathway, where we have Horizon 3, which is the future, Horizon 1, which is the present, and Horizon 2, where we develop this transition to a certain vision of the future. We refine impacts all along of the conversation, the impacts that this intervention or technology might generate. And then the research team comes back and fine-grains, let's say, the users, the impact estimation, the potential users of the technology, fine-grains the intervention, and develops concretely the intervention design. Next, please. So we think that really what makes it different from other methods to develop theories of change or impact pathways, it's the use of foresight tools, which really puts the spotlight on the timeline. So the medium, long-term, and short-term events that would happen or might happen and might influence an intervention, and allows to provide a specific discussion on time. And so this discussion also includes the necessary conditions for the emergence of outcomes and impacts. It allows to analyze the context not only in terms of what is happening today, but also the potential future dynamics. But what most importantly is that it highlights that the research intervention is one branch of this transition pathway within systemic transformations that need to happen for instance, a technology to be used. Next, please. So the key outputs of impact weaving, we can say that it allows us for, let's say, relatively rapid reality check and assessment of what are the transformations that are needed to achieve technological change, but also the transformations that are triggered by technological change. It provides a baseline for monitoring and evaluation, highlighting what are the low-hanging fruits, the short-term outcomes, but also the long-term impacts and the necessary conditions for them to emerge. It allows us to identify specific milestones over time where we should look at what's the pathway that we are moving on, and to identify the risks and assumptions in our own intervention. Next, please. So it's really a method that focuses on navigating uncertain future pathways by using these foresight tools, focusing on disentangling the research intervention within the systemic transformation that are needed to achieve technological change and impact. And we consider it can allow us to develop more plausible action plans that are well anchored, let's say, in this systemic analysis, and therefore allows us to navigate prioritization, optimization of resources, but also the institutional priority setting, the learning, and also, of course, as many participatory evaluation tools, it allows to foster evaluative capacity of the stakeholders that participate. Next. And I think it's the last. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Genoveva, and also I welcome Federica Bottamedi, who is the facilitator of this session. She was busy in another G-Local session, but she joined us. So let me introduce also Federica, and she will re-lead the event. So she's an independent evaluator and also a communications and strategy consultant. She currently works as an outreach specialist for the CGIAR in Italy. And she was previously working at FAO Office of Evaluation. So we were colleagues in the past. So thanks, Federica, for taking the facilitation role of this event. So I'll give it back to you, Federica.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to those who join later. And apologies for having joined later as well. Yes, we were in another session and it took a bit longer. Thank you, Genoveva, for sharing your amazing presentation on impact weaving. And I think it is really, really very interesting and how you presented it with all the steps to create a baseline. And it's very interesting for our evaluators. So I'm sure if you all have some questions, I would invite you to put them in the chat and we'll have the discussion at the end of the 3 presentations. That's what we agreed, right? So now, thanking Genoveva, I'm going to give the floor to Monica at Zahara. Monica is a monitoring and evaluation learning and impact assessment specialist in environment and in local socio-economic empowerment. She works for the Equality for Impact unit at C4 and ECRAF. So welcome, Monica. You are gonna tell us and talk to us today about integrating the theory of change and the jurisdictional approach in a specific case, which is preparing a sustainable palm oil action plan in Indonesia. So hello, Monica. Welcome to the webinar. Tell us your experience.
Okay, thank you, Fede.
Renata, please put full screen. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Greeting from Indonesia. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm Monica, Amelia specialist at the C4. C4, the Center for International Forestry Research, is leading global organizations dedicated to advancing sustainable forestry and landscape. C4 conduct research and facilitate partnership to address global challenges related to forestry, climate change, biodiversity conservation, and sustainable development, providing evidence-based solution for more excellent and equitable future. It is with a great pleasure that I welcome you to join our sessions on sharing our best practices and learning from our project scaling jurisdictional approach in Indonesian palm oil sector supported by Walmart Foundations. For us, this project more than just turning point in sustainable agriculture. It is also evidence of the effectiveness of teamwork, collaborative management, and participatory methods. And collectively, we are embarking on a journey to support locally responsive jurisdictional initiatives that will facilitate pathway for sustainable future. Our effort at this project are concentrated in our agencies, four regencies, Sintang regencies in the West Kalimantan province in Indonesia, Pelalawan regencies in Riau province, Kutai Kartanegara in East Kalimantan province, and also Pulang Pisau regency in Central Kalimantan province. These regions are heart of Indonesia's palm oil sectors, and their active participations and leadership are vital to our project success in the past. We are working closely also with the local stakeholder, local governments, and also dedicated our local partner. We aim to empower these communities to develop and implement the sustainable palm oil regional action plan. We call it Rencana Aksi Daerah Kelapa Sawit Berkelanjutan. And at these sessions, we are talking about integrating the TOC and GA, as we may know in theory of change explain how the activities undertaken by interventions to contribute to a change of result that lead to the intended of the observed impact. It is based on better evaluations.org. And resonate with this theme of G-Local 2024, evaluations and transformational change. We acknowledge the critical role of evaluation is driving deep, systemic, and sustainable transformations. TOC, or Theory of Change, serve as a systemic framework in project management, articulating how interventions contribute to a series of outcomes that leading to intended impact. While jurisdictional approach in theory is an integrated landscape approach that aims to reconcile competing social, economic, and environmental objectives through participations by a full range of stakeholders across sectors implemented within government's administrative boundaries with a form of government's involvement. It is in a theory, but in practice, we represent the GA jurisdictional approach, represent an integrated landscape approach, reconciling diverse objectives through stakeholder participations and government involvement within administrative boundaries. And when we integrate in the TOC and the GA, the TOC and evaluating GA initiative will strike a balance between ambitious aspirations and pragmatic realities, fostering sustainable transformations at jurisdictional levels. And also TOC will provide a lens through which to evaluate the effectiveness of GA or jurisdictional approach, illustrating the pathway through this collaborative effort generate transformative change. Next. And I would like to share you about the reason why we did integrate theory of change and jurisdictional approach. We would like to ensure stakeholder voice are heard, understand the local context, and articulate expectation and changes. TOC support GA to encourage stakeholder reflections on connections between outputs, outcome, and goals, as well as how to achieve a significant impact over specific years that we would like to target. And also to promote meaningful collaborations among key players from across sectors. And that is the process. The next one, the process of participatory TOC development at jurisdictional levels. We invite across sectors, I mean, from the governments, from community, from the private sector, from everywhere, to sit together, discussion on the context, local issues, problem, key stakeholders, assessment and assumption and risk identifications, and then develop the TOC and reach a consensus on the structure and change pathway. And then the third step, refine the TOC narrative and also visual structure and the program logic. We sit together not only once, but several discussions or several workshops. And after the discussions, we have some outputs that we generate together. The next slide, please. Yeah. Before I will share some key outputs that we contribute, it is the advantage that I summarize from the discussions that the TOC development process for sustainable palm oil actions plan preparation and agency. We have the structure logic of the program. The complex issue can be defined with structured problem logic, and then effectiveness, engagement of the most relevant stakeholder according to their interests, and also the role to achieve sustainable palm oil practices and regency levels. And then the another advantages that I can sum up from the process, strengthening trust and increase stakeholder collaborations during the process. The process of discussions are hearings in the TOC development process, strengthen trust and enhance collaborations. And another one is clear. We have clear target and performance indicators. The monitoring and evaluations framework can be serve as a guide for technical implementation for monitoring and measure program performance and to prepare reporting. The next slide, please. And that's the photo of the process that we have. Yeah. Next, please. Yeah, it is the photo. This one is the product. We have a product, we call it contributions document for sustainable palm oil regional actions plan. The product, we call it the product contributions document. We hand over the product to policy makers from each regency, and we hand over a policy document to representative of 4 agencies as a material for them to discuss when they are structure or planning the sustainable palm oil regional actions plan. And then, yeah, I would like to share about the challenges. As you may know that the process may not always be easy and sometimes can be challenging, but it proves effective in fostering collaboration and stakeholder involvement It enhances their sense of ownership and belonging to planning documents we create together. And despite of that, the challenges is also there because we involve so many stakeholders. So it's not always easy to involve and dealing with divergent perspective and interests, and identify key issues and develop appropriate and logical cause and effect pathway, particularly if the issue is complex and involve many factors to influence the desired change. And another challenge is determine the indicators, target, and period for the expected changes that we are more realistic, considering the resource available that we have in the region levels, and then communicating the TOC structure itself, both visually and narratively, especially when the concepts are complex and challenging, also to make people or stakeholders understand the TOC itself. And the next one, yeah, it is another challenging to involve multi-stakeholder discussions, since we identify 4 challenges. The first one is complexity. Yeah, if there are many stakeholders, as you may know, the process of developing theory of change can be more difficult and more to take a longer time to have the consensus. And then divergent point of view. Some stakeholders may have different perspective on the problem, and then and appropriate solutions, which make difficult sometimes to reach consensus. And the constraint and limited resources is also one of the challenges. The process of discussions and conducting a consensus will require more time and resource, and also unequal stakeholder representative or representations. It is yeah, it can be it's happened sometimes during the discussions. They are not equal stakeholder representation from governments. Sometimes the governments are many governments, and there is no private sector. So it is one of the challenges involving multi-stakeholder discussions. The next one, yeah. And enabling factors, I would say that during the discussion, during the TOC participatory development process, there are 4 enabling factors that support. First one is the capacity and network of local partner. Since we are working together with the local partner, the capacity of them is essentials. It's include the capacity to facilitate the forum, attended and their network, how they can invite as multi-stakeholder representative with different interests. And then the local government support. It is essential also for increasing public involvement, which lead to more efficient and decision making, such as region support is very essential on that in the process of jurisdictional approach. And also trust among the stakeholders. Building trust before bringing stakeholders together for discussions is necessary, managed by our local partner, because they are knows the characteristic of the stakeholder there. And also the timing or the momentum. It is enabling factor for the success discussions. The timing or momentum means it is imperative to consider the timing of TOC development to ensure align with the timeline of local government's programs. And it is the last things that I would like to share with you, the key messages to deliver when you employ integrating theory of change and the GA. The first one is prioritize early stakeholder involvement. Early stakeholder involvement in a planning should be prioritized to leverage their advice effectively and assist when the developing initiative and action plan. And then the understanding, we should understand the stakeholder unique characteristic. It will enable effective method for meaningful stakeholder engagement and also collaborations. And the third one is transparent communications and extensive stakeholder discussion. It is also essential to ensure project focus on regional priorities and foster the trust. And investment in initiative to enhance local partner, if you work together with local partner, and in terms of their network and also facilitation skills. And the last one is to provide training and capacity building for local government officials to enhance local officials' understanding of multi-stakeholder approaches and include decisions making. I think that's all. I can share with you. Over to you, Federica. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Monica. Very well done. So here, I've said if you have questions, you can already include them in the chat, and then Monica and Genoveva will reply to you at the end. I think let's move already to Ana Maria Agustin, so then we can have more time for the discussion at the end if you all agree. So the third presentation is from Ana Maria Agustin. She's an independent consultant, an evaluator and researcher in agriculture, environment and innovation. Today, Ana Maria will talk about systems approaches in agricultural evaluations. Okay, thank you, Ana Maria. Over to you.
Hello, everybody. Nice
Renata,
to see
can you please
here.
just share this presentation?
Yes, Renata, if you can share, that would be great.
Here it goes, full screen. Yeah.
Yes, full screen. So I will be talking in my presentation about different system approaches in agricultural evaluations. And I will also look back at the presentations of the colleagues who were talking before me. Next. Basically, the systems thinking in evaluation comes from system science. As you can see in this slide, it builds upon a huge wealth of knowledge and different fields. There's probably much more than what you can see on this, but I think somebody who prepared it in advance made a very nice summary of the main topics of concerns and main scientific areas. It's also a very dynamically developing area of science and practice nowadays. Next. And there might be a few tools of a system thinker that you can already see from the previous presentations in the way how they use vocabulary describing the evaluations. So they talk about disconnection and interconnectedness, linear, circular, silos, emergence, parts, wholes, analysis, synthesis, isolation, and relationship. Also about interactions, which were highlighted, and participation that maybe not mentioned in the slide, but some other topics which are of high relevance. Next. So systems thinking and evaluation, it originally came back more from system sciences research, although you can sometimes see in evaluation that the system buzzword comes up somehow in the context. And I have here an example of a causal loop diagram from agri-eco-food system. And it was a kind of project which was realized by the UNEP and some colleagues who are scientists, where this causal loop diagram shows how to map the complexity of the system. And there are several tools which can be used for that. On the one hand, you have this causal loop diagram, which you can see. Then maybe systemic inquiry, systemic mapping, Sinfine framework, horizon scanning, actor mapping, backcasting that Genoveva already explained in detail in her case, sense making, rubrics, which is becoming very popular in the recent days. A multi-criteria analysis, very interesting one, which integrates quite often quantitative part. And this is very much useful before launching a project in order to collect baseline and also to consult with stakeholders what kind of directions they want to take in the project. Next. What are the key challenges for evaluations using systems approaches? The key question is whether it is an alternative or it can be integrated with the existing methods and toolboxes. For instance, OECD, DAC criteria, log frame and linear approaches, which are the dominant paradigms in evaluations these days. If you've seen a log frame, you know how rigid it can be, and so how to put the systems thinking here. And this is a challenge here. So agencies and donors seek quantitative data, especially on impacts. So actually systems thinking approaches are very much qualitative kind. You can measure, of course, different elements of the systems and how they interact with each other and so on, but still, I mean, like high expenditure, value for money, return on investment, so on are very important for evaluators to get feedback on. So how to integrate it with systems thinking? I believe there are some possible avenues, but they have to be still explored a bit more. Then from what I see, public procurement is rather scarce in this area. If you know any good examples, I'm very interested to see them. You can share them with me after my presentation or send me. And then the skill set required for conducting evaluations. System thinking is very much, I mean, it's quite complex, and I believe that beginner evaluator may have difficulty to grasp it. It's also very difficult to translate it beyond the science. So actually having scientists as evaluators or collaborating with systems thinking science can be very useful, at least for building certain capacities in evaluation teams. And then actually there's also a need to have a safe space for experimenting. And I think that especially RNI projects, there have been some good examples already, have been applying systems approaches in evaluation or supporting transformational change projects. So I believe that this is the way forward in this area. Next. And the benefits of systems approaches. First of all, they can give us a richer picture of the complex organizations, projects, problems, and solutions, and in many times scenarios. So there is never a situation that there is only one solution. You can have different solutions, and sometimes the complexity requires that actually there's no perfect one-size-fits-all approach. So then the scenarios can help you to adapt into the right circumstances and with the right activities and evaluation as well. And naturally, it fosters the culture of participation. Actually, you may be even using these tools and you are not aware of that. So look back at the methods which you use. Maybe you can share also something with us. Next. So some examples from different donor agencies and different projects. I have worked on some of them or collaborated in some way. So for instance, we have this liaison impact assessment and evaluation tools. It's a handbook where we explored in-depth interactions between different stakeholders or actors actually in the system. And this is very much in the context of agricultural knowledge and innovation systems, RNI project oriented on transformation in the agricultural and agro-environmental context. Then the currently the Climate Investment Funds is working on diagnostic evaluations in the transformational change area, and they are promoting very much systems approaches. This is not only agriculture, this is a broader area, however, very much linked to climate change, which is probably of interest to our audience as well. And then European Union's initiative EIT had very interesting work on challenge-led system mapping that can be looked at as well. And UNEP already released some years ago a very interesting handbook and the study on approaches in agri-eco-food systems and related foundations for this kind of evaluation. So that's everything for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ana Maria. We did very well. You did very well on with the time. So now we have a good 20 minutes for discussion. System thinking in evaluation, I think it's very, it's very interesting. And I really love those mapping and the maps that you use and seeing the causalities. And it's really fascinating, as you see, to have a different perspective of the complexity of a situation. And in evaluation, it's certainly very, very useful. I like the sentence, the comment that you made, that we may already be using actually system thinking in evaluations, and we don't really realize and identify that as a proper qualitative method and to give the proper attention that it deserves. So we already have some questions. Let's start with the first question for Gino Wefa. Vicente Plata, I don't know if you actually want to intervene yourself so we can hear your voice. In the meantime,
okay,
yes.
good morning. Good morning,
Welcome,
Federica.
yes. Good morning.
Thank you, Federica, for giving me the opportunity to participate. And I was just writing another question for Ana Maria, so I will start with Genovefa. And I think her presentation was really amazing. Thank you very much for it. I was wondering if you have ever thought about moving a step forward and include concepts of future literacy to go into a deeper, a wider evaluation of the impact of a technology. The difference between foresight and future literacy is that future literacy includes more ambiguity about the future, more broadness about what can happen. And that pushes us to think that different futures are not absolutely linear and that things can happen. And so that takes us to think that how risky or what which are the possible risks that we can go on into moving into a certain technology or whatever decision. And although I understand that it's quite challenging, I think it's interesting to look at it. But what is your opinion about that? Because already using foresight in evaluation is challenging. So to move a step forward is more challenging. So that is a question about. And thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I think that, so let's say that we try to be particularly pragmatic about what we wanted to achieve with this method specifically. But it's true that so the way we use foresight is really in terms of anticipation and therefore using the capability of using the future to rethink the present, right? And that's why the futures triangle, I think it's really a nice approach that allows us to look at different elements that might shape the future, that might develop different transition pathways. But yeah, of course, to make it, let's say, easy to translate in action planning, then we combined it with the free horizons, which allows us to focus on one selected future that we might want to target or avoid, and develop the transition pathway. But I think that one tool that is particularly useful, and we use it quite a lot in CIRAD, in my research institute, when we develop agricultural interventions or new projects we have with our partners. We use the causal layered analysis. I was looking for the French word, sorry, which allows to make explicit the assumptions, the myths that are behind the way we think about a certain subject. It could be about the development of the world in general. It could be about agroecology. It's something that we have done.
Well, those are concepts of future literacy, Genovefa. So you're right, you're already using them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
So it's but it's true that it's more challenging to develop this in a 2 days workshop with stakeholders. So we're really trying always to combine the most efficient, let's say, way, so that we don't take too much time from stakeholders. But yes, we do like to use other approaches that allow to develop anticipatory assumptions.
Federica, can I make another very short?
Please go ahead. Yes, okay.
Genoveva and the rest. In recent conversations with the Uruguayan cooperatives, I was challenging them to think, which is the future that you perceive or that you want in the next 15 years or 30 years? From now to 30 years, what do you want? So in order to think, what do you want, then to bring it here, and what do you have to do for that? And then there introduce all those 30 years, what can happen? People might change their ways of eating, or people might change your sons and your grandsons don't want to do this or do that, or live this way or live that way. So what is the future that you want? And it was particularly challenging, difficult not to go into a, let's say, empty political statement, but try to really think in a constructive thing that can help you decide, and that is not one afternoon work, of course, but to think and how do you have to move forward for that. And excuse me, Genoveva, for this sharing of experience, but thank you again. And complimenti Federica and Renata for this fantastic webinar, honestly.
Thank you, Vicente. Where are you? Then you can tap in the chat. Where are you connecting from, and what's your domain? There is another question for Monica. A question was, what are the input and output indicators that you used? I don't know if Norbert wants to specify more. Norbert.
Okay, thank you for giving the floor. I appreciate the first presenter who was talking about the theory of change. You know,
yes.
one of the main challenge of the theory of change is the indicator. When the indicator is well defined, so you can reach out with effective result. But I want to know what are the indicators used by the first presenter for the theory of change. Are you getting me? Sorry, I'm on my way. So
for Monica, right? Yes.
Yeah, Monica.
Okay. Can I answer that one? Thank you, Norbert,
Monica,
for the questions. Yeah. Maybe I can share my share screen with you in terms of the where the indicators, and can you see the screen?
Yes, we see. Put it full screen. Yes, that is good.
Okay. Okay. That one, the theory of change that we developed in the first, in the process of the theory of change development, you can see the left one, and then we determine the levels of or the structure here, the change pathway, and then we structure the logic model after we have the theory of change. We have the sphere of control, we have the sphere of influence, and also we have a sphere of interest. The sphere of interest is the higher levels that we have. We call it goal or impact, and that sphere of influence, we call it outcome, or we have also intermediate outcome, and sphere of control is the output one. When we develop or structuring this point, and then we set together the indicators and also the target based on the year, particular year that we would like to achieve for this planning. And after that discussions, we sum up it in document contributions, and we hand over all the documents to the policy. We call it policy document contributions to representative of our 4 agencies. So that's is it answering your questions?
Yeah, thank you for your answer. The answer is clear. It's clear. But how to mitigate bias? Sometimes, because when you are projecting, you are expecting a result. You expect to have a result. How to mitigate a bias? Who can underpin your result, your expected result? How can you mitigate this bias?
Yeah, the expected result that we develop here, we are doing it collectively, and then we are looking the consensus during the process, and then we are not conducting and once, but several times, several discussions of formal and informals. So we like a peer review, and then also look at again, refine again, discuss again until we have the consensus of the change pathway we would like to achieve in the end of the particular year that we targeted.
Okay, thank very much for your insight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Norbert.
You're welcome.
We have receiving some, thank you, Norbert, and thank you, Monica, for answering. We are receiving some comments from Malika that she found the tool documented by UNDP very useful. It's cooperative inquiry. She used it and did allow to pinpoint the problem, the need, and possible solutions. Okay, let's have it. So Vincente had a question also for Ana Maria. Since you are connected, Vicente, do you want to go ahead and ask her directly?
Thank you. Again, I don't want to monopolize the time here. Ana Maria, of course, thank you for a very interesting presentation indeed. As I put there, systems thinking is fundamental at the starting phase of a project, and as well as at the evaluation stage. I've been responsible of FAO office for over 13 years, and I found challenging the stage of prioritizing the lines to work on. How do you decide where to put the funds to get the better impact, as well as when you have to assess a government? The decision maker has to decide what to do. He cannot take all the whole system at the same time. He has to understand how the system works, but it has to decide to work on 1, 2, 3, or 7 topics, but not over all the topics. I found that particularly challenging. What is your experience on that? And I'm not making a comment on Monica's presentation because it was absolutely fantastic, much more complex for me than what I could capture at all. I will, when you send it back, Renata and Federica, I will look at more carefully. Congratulations, Monica. It's a very interesting work that you presented. But Ana Maria, what is your experience on how to prioritize where to work after the system thinking work? Over.
Thank you, Vincente, for this challenging questions. I agree with you that this is very difficult, and there are always different priorities that you have to choose from, because you cannot address all the problems, not at once at least. And in terms of system thinking, if I would have a choice which method, and what I've seen also in practice is multi-criteria decision analysis, because it helps you to calibrate the decisions. You can compare between different scenarios and alternatives. And if it's a really advanced system, you can also use software, which these days is very sophisticated. Sometimes, unfortunately, it's too expensive to have it in a small evaluation, and this might be the problem. So the availability and costs of doing this. But on the other hand, if somebody invests in this, it may pay back after some time. Hope it answers the question.
Thank you very much. I absolutely agree, Anna Maria. Absolutely agree. Thank you.
We have a comment and a question from Beyen from Ethiopia. It's for Monica. Beyen, do you want to intervene? Do you want to speak up? Or I shall read your question. It's about participation of women.
Yeah, participation of women, especially in Africa and Asia. I think we have similar or common outlooks about on women participation, especially in this kind of project planning or any other social affairs. So how did you come to manage it, especially when you are doing the jurisdictional approach, which involves multi-stakeholders, where the elders, the elders, the youngest, the youngsters, the older people, the women, the women and the male are participating, and also governments are also involved there. There may be, I think, in our context, this is very challenging. Just so, how did you handle it? Just to, and again, to share me a little bit about the challenges that you faced or during the process. If I had a chance, one or two questions for Augustine, Anna Maria. I think the systems approach. I think you started from something natural science there, biology and others, and you came to just on the systems approach about on evaluation. How are you going to scale it up as far as it is required to be implemented by all? Do you assume that this will be just implemented by all of these project practitioners or program implementers? Do you assume that one? If so, what is your proposal, or what are the strategies that you advise for others to use it? The same question also for impact waiving.
Okay, thank you, Beyen. So let's start with
waiving also. Thank you.
Let's start with Monica, so she can reply to your first question about the involvement of women and the specific challenges.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. The questions. Yeah, in Indonesia is also the challenge as well. In reality, we in this project we also promote the equality of women and men, male and female equal representations. But it's a very challenge because in these issues, most of them are men. So we encourage we work together with our local partners to bear in mind that females' perspective should be considered in the discussion. So we invite, in our reality, we have 40% women and 60% men in the sessions, but not equal in every sessions. Our strategy is to invite the woman leader in the community, or the farmer, or the representative of governments and also the private sectors. But as we also may know that it is our challenge also in Indonesia to, especially in this issue, the palm oil issue, most of them are men. So at least we promote that equality of the representative of the voice when we are discuss and the theory of change development.
Thank you, Monica. So we have 1 minute left. Actually, we do have another question for Anna Maria. So I don't know if Anna Maria, you can in a minute answering what Bayan was asking, and also Mabel, she is asking which system thinking analysis would be better, or you are recommending for small evaluations. Let's try to keep it to a minute.
Okay, I will try. 1 minute is challenging. So the first question was about scaling up the systems thinking. I believe there needs to be maybe more effort at the level of the donor agencies and implementing agencies of the project in public procurement, and maybe development of some guidance documents, how to use it, to think actually how they can integrate it with the existing evaluation frameworks, exchange of good practices, looking for these good practices in first place, because I believe they are already on the ground. More exchange, more capacity development efforts. So this is the way forward to tap more of these approaches. And the second question, sorry, I have a small project, right? Okay.
Yeah, small evaluations. Which system, would you recommend?
Yeah. For small evaluations, I believe like systems mapping, causal loop diagrams, backcasting method can be also very useful, which Genevieve already explained. So maybe this kind of approaches which are not extremely resource intensive.
Thank you, Ana Maria. Wow, actually, I want to congratulate everyone for sticking to the time. I'm really amazed. It's 4:01 and we've ended the presentation. We had the chance to have some questions. This has been very insightful, covering lots of aspects from ex ante, for the impact waiving, from participatory approach, from the complexity of evaluations with system thinking. So there has been really a lot. Of course, time, we could use a lot of hours more, but this was it. So I'm going to give back the floor to Renata and thank her and thank Eval Forward to welcome us and host us in this global session. And she's going to tell you how to share and how to access the presentations. Thanks again to our speakers today, and congratulations to you. And for our participants, congratulations to you all, and thank you for your questions.
Thanks, Federica. Thanks, Genoveva, Monica, Anna Maria. It's been a pleasure to prepare this session with you. It's a very dense and rich presentations you had, and it was challenging also to have them in 1 hour with the discussion. So really well done to you all, and Federica for facilitating, and great participation and great questions from the audience. So I just wanted to, say thanks. And as I said already, I will send the recording and the presentations to you all, and be in touch with Eval Ford, with me, and with the presenters for any other question you may have. We may have other sessions in the future also around these challenging subjects, topics. So thank you all, and see you next time soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you want to stay, Federica.
for now.
Hi, Malika. See you. Nice to see you, Malika.
Nice seeing you all. Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. That was very good. Great.
I'll stop the recording.